Hi guys, it's Cry, and today I'm gonna do another tutorial for making hoodies. To start off, we are going to make a neckle. I personally do this with a line tool. Oh, let me get on the right layer. A line tool, and then for this one I'm going to make it cropped, so I have a bottom under as a reference of placement for the end of it. So I'm going to make an oval for the neck hole, something like this actually. Next, we are going to add a little bit of a line here. This is gonna mark like where the hoodie meets, if that makes sense. Then we start adding this. Make the hoodie line up like that. Then we'll add another line to add the little fold in the hoodie. I'm going to erase this line here and kind of blend this into each other. Then we're going to add another line for the fold. Actually, I'm going to make it right here. Then erase the edges with a soft eraser. Notice how the hoodie folds like that and it crosses. And then we are going to mirror this over merge, and then I'm going to cross them. Erase it, make this one cross over here, and then I cross that one under, and I fix up the hole, or the seam. Then what you can do to make the back line up is, first off, you could add something like this so it helps you see, but if not, if it's plain color, it works too. Just make sure you flip it in the right position. You can flip it over if you don't have a template like this. What I do is I copy it, I flip it both horizontal and vertical. Then I do this part, the back where the hoodie is. Copy that over, and you have the basic shape of the hoodie, but I always recommend adding extra bits in the line art for folds and creases, like this. I keep adding folds in line art until I'm satisfied. Next, we're going to do the end of it. This is pretty self-explanatory. I'm personally making mine a crop top, but I'm going to make it actually like make it look like it's tucked in. To achieve a tucked in effect, you kind of layer it over like this and give it swirlies, then have like that there to mark where it like goes back in. Copy all that. I'm just going to do a pretty simple copy paste type of thing, so it's all even, symmetrical, but you can make it asymmetrical if you'd like. I'm going to quickly add some sleeves. Since the skirt, I don't need the skirt there anymore as a placement. Going to do this, make a line here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the seam look like there's a little bit of extra fabric drooping over the seam to fit in with the tucked in effect I did on the top. And then later on I'll add some little like lines to there. Actually, yeah, I'll add the lines in right now. What I normally do, since I have Clip Studio, I can take a pre-existing line texture type of thing and use it. But if you don't, just use your line tool. I'm going to do a pattern like this. Or actually, wait, that's kind of cute too. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to use Mesh Transform, which I'm not sure if many other programs have that unless you're using like Photoshop. Just to give it a little bit of shape. But once again, you can just give it shape with how the line tool normally acts to produce a similar result. Erase that real quick. And then I'm gonna make it the same color as my outline. Make it a little more transparent and put it down on the same layer. Next, before we color, I'm going to do these strings. I'm going to do these strings in a white color so it contrasts the peach. Let me paste that. Alright. I personally like to do my hoodie strings asymmetrical, so they aren't the exact same. my hoodie to have that little string thing at the bottom. And then for this one, I'm gonna do it kind of alike, but maybe a little longer. And do that. And then kind of end it a little bit rounded if you can. Then I'm going to color in the, what's it called? The hoodie strings. It's pretty simple to do. Next, I'm going to color in the outline for the hoodie. Turn on a mirror modifier real quick. Or not a mirror modifier, a symmetry roller. Now I'm going to shade the hoodie itself using an airbrush. First, I'm going to shade right here, and after that I'll focus on the back. I'm going to add a symmetry roller to save some time. But you can mirror it normally if you don't have a symmetry roller. I'm going to add a little bit of wrinkles here, but then I'm going to get like erase over them with a soft eraser. Very lightly. That way they're very faint. Now I'm going to shade the wrinkle right there. And then I'll fix that part right there later. I'm gonna turn this down a bit. Then I'm gonna do a little bit of asymmetrical shading. I'm gonna turn back on my symmetry roller and do the torso, or middle torso. Gonna shade it under right there and then do the tucks. Raise it a bit. Next, I'm gonna just like shade it around here, just to give the edges a bit of You don't have to put many wrinkles on this unless you want to, but for the hoodie I'm doing, you don't really want any wrinkles. You can add a little bit of like the cleavage-ish, even though there's none. Just so it's like loose. Now I'm going to shade the back. Actually, I'm going to turn off my symmetry because I want the back to be asymmetrical. I'll focus on the side in a second, but I'm going to focus on the hood. It's okay if you get a little bit on like the part I'm coloring right now, because it helps add a bit of depth to it. Erase a bit of that, and add a little more shading right here. Then I add shading under the hood. For my shading style personally, I like to focus on adding wrinkles everywhere and making them really faint. So even though you don't see them, there's just a little bit of opacity left. And I think it looks really nice even though the details aren't very visible. Next, I'm going to work on the sleeve shading. I just realized I forgot a piece of line art. What I personally like to do on the sleeves is add a seam off the sleeve, like that. You can also add it on the torso, but I think it looks better off the sleeve for a more slouchy and looser look. I'm gonna just quickly, very gently brush that up. A little bit there, and there. So first I'm gonna do like a wrinkle here to because I think it looks nice there. That makes sense. Because you normally see a wrinkle over the shoulder area. I feel like the sleeves are more wrinkly than the torso itself on clothing. Erasing. I'll add a little bit back. Okay. A little more wrinkles. Just where I think they look nice. I feel like it doesn't need too much wrinkles on this side. And then I need to focus on the little seam going on there. Add some shadow. And it looks really pretty. Add a few wrinkles there. And now I'm going to lower the opacity on these. Possibly edit their layer modes. I think I'm going to use this because it looks more peachy. And I'm gonna overlay, or actually, no, I'm gonna use Add Glow, which is the luminosity. And I'm going to do the highlights. First, just a few highlights here. I'm gonna lower the opacity real quick. Some here. Gonna turn off that modifier so I can make them complement their existing wrinkles. I want these really light highlights. I feel like they look really pretty when they're subtle. Also, I'll add the shadow for these right here in a second. for the strings, I should say. And then I'll add some right here on the back. I feel like it's nice to place highlights near shadow or even under shadow. That way it gives it like, I don't know, it just looks nice. I personally recommend, if you're more of a beginner, to make your style more realistic, but if not, then go for like whatever you want, because I feel like once you learn to be realistic, you can finally bend the rules. It's like in art in general, learn the basics, or learn the fundamentals before you can break them. So people always say to learn realism over cartoon first. Like, you can still do it for fun, type of thing. But then again, just do whatever makes you happy. To add a design technique a lot of the popular designers use, which is just, for me, it's taking a thin line tool and lining around the edges. You can also use the pen. I use a mixture of both, but the line tool really helps like get them nice. I'm gonna lower that, but just to make the highlights like pretty low. It's a technique I've used for a while in various ways. You can do your lines thicker and erase them a bit if you'd like. But I feel like all the popular designers use this trick, and I personally love it because it makes everything pop a bit. Although it's kind of cartoony, if you just lower the opacity like pretty low, it's nice, even on realistic designs. You don't only have, or you can do them around just the line art if you want, but I like to do them around some wrinkles too, which I'll show in a moment. But when I do them around wrinkles, I erase them, the edges a bit. Sometimes even the center, just to make it very light. I feel like clothing, you should keep in mind how seams work. I understand not everyone knows like sewing, this, that, you know, but at least get like a basic idea of, okay, this seam is a tighter seam, this is a looser seam, this is how it would wrinkle. I feel like designing, it isn't that difficult to do. You just need to keep your mind open and learn new techniques. And be open to critique. I would have never improved if I didn't have critique and learn new techniques. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And now I'm going to add, oops, I accidentally put my lines on the wrong layer. Okay. And you redo these. Always make sure you're using the right layer because I often use the wrong layer. And now I'm finally gonna add the little shadow for the strings, which I forgot to do. I'm gonna do it this way. Blur it a bit with Gaussian blur. I'm gonna shade the hoodie strings. Alright. Just taking the airbrush and like give them a little bit of shading in some places. Very lightly, and lower that a lot too. But give them a lot of highlight is what I do. Kind of like this. I have multiple layers of highlight. Like that. You can add a little tie, like a bow if you would want. I personally don't really like bows on my hoodies. I like them like the loose strings rather than a new bow. And that is how you make a hoodie. Let me know in the comments whatever types of tutorials you'd like on my YouTube channel. And if there's like something like you need help with, I can try and help you. Thank you. Bye.